Hi, everybody. Welcome to Thursday, January the 28th. Today, we're going to continue on with our discussion on Chapter 8, Delivering Unfavorable News. And the part that we are taking on today is starting on page 267. So 267 types of bad news messages. And those types are the following. Refusing requests, refusing claims, refusing credit, turning down job applicants, announcing bad news to employees, and declining of invitations. So when you are refusing requests, everybody, that first one that I mentioned, and you're refusing these requests from people that are outside of your organization, you can say no, what they call tactfully, by using that indirect writing plan. And we talked about that on Tuesday's class. And with that indirect writing plan, what you're going to do is you're going to be buffering, explaining, and softening the bad news to the recipient of that message. Please note that a direct writing plan is only workable when you know the reader well, or when politeness is not essential to maintaining that relationship. So when we are talking about refusing requests, everybody, we're talking about buffering that opening. Okay, it can be the difficult part of this process, as the textbook does explain. So you need to concentrate, everybody, on the information that's relevant to the message that you're sending out. But not making it so positive that it misleads the reader. Okay, so buffering that opening, everybody, keeping that in mind. It can be difficult. You need to concentrate on that particular part of the message to make sure that your message is relevant. You want to give reasons for the refusal of that request. You need to limit, as per the textbook telling us, and limit your explanation to the main reason for that refusal, everybody. Soften or subordinate the bad news. Okay, it's not easy putting this type of information or communicating it to the reader. So you want to make sure that you soften the bad news. You want to avoid any sort of harsh or negative phrasing. Remember, we talked about that with tone as well. You could possibly offer an alternative, okay, or a compromise if a good one is available. Okay, that's always an option with this. And make sure that when you do the closing for this refusing the request, that you're renewing goodwill in your closing. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're buffering that opening all the way through to renewing goodwill in closing. Those are two key things that you need to remember when you are refusing a request that has come in, everybody. Okay, and they give you a example on page 268 in your textbook, and it walks you through what an effective refusing request could look like. So please take a look at that if you're unsure as to any of the points that we're talking about here with that refusing of the request. The next one that they have brought up for us in the textbook is refusing the claims, everybody. This could be an insurance claim that's come in and you've got to refuse that claim. So what are some of the things that we need to keep in mind when we are refusing a claim of any kind? And keep in mind, everybody, you've got that case study coming up, and this is going to apply to that. Okay, so when we are refusing claims, everybody, what do we need to do? We need to begin our refusal with a statement of appreciation on page 269, everybody. Appreciation, common ground, or understanding. Okay, you want to provide a concise and factual explanation as to why are you refusing that claim. Don't apologize in your message. And again, you want to end in a friendly, confident way. Okay? Very few of the claims that you will have coming in are going to be fraudulent in any sort of capacity. Some could be the result of an honest mistake or misinformation on the part of the claimant. So keep in mind, I always suggest to students, put yourself in their shoes. Okay, how would you feel if you were receiving that? So the second one, part of me that we've talked about is refusing a claim, everybody. And again, this could apply to an insurance company if we're going to use an example on that. Okay, so refusing the claim. The next one, oh, sorry, let's just back up a bit. If you go through the textbook, they're really good at giving you examples as to what that refusal could look like. And with this claim part, they've given us what an ineffective, so not an example that you want to use, okay? An ineffective and an effective claim refusal. So take a look at those, see how they're laid out, and focus on that effective one. Okay, the parts that we have talked about that they're including in there. And again, place yourself in that person's shoes and feel what they would feel. Okay. The next one, everybody, is refusing credit on page 272. And this will happen to everybody at some point in their life, okay? So when we are talking about refusing credit, everybody, we're talking about creating a draft that's sensitive, respectful. Okay, you don't want to criticize applicants for possibly their low cash reserves or income, debts, or poor credit records. That's not the job that you're doing. Okay, you're letting them know that their request for credit has been denied. Okay, you want to be courteous and respectful. There's that tone component of it again. Please note that this can cause hard feelings with consequences for future business. So you want to handle it tactfully, and you want to be courteous, everybody. Okay, so again, draft that sensitive, respectful refusal that says no without criticizing the individual for perhaps their low credit rating, poor credit history, that sort of thing. And this is a great example, when you're applying for a credit card, you're applying for credit on behalf of the business that you're working for, that sort of thing. So please keep in mind that you need to be courteous and respectful when we talk about that. And again, they give you a great example in the textbook, page 272, 273, on what an ineffective credit refusal letter or memo will look like versus what an effective one will look like. Okay, so don't and do, right? Don't is that ineffective. You do not want to use that one versus the effective credit refusal. Okay, the next one is probably one that we have all taken part in or will be taking part in our working lives, and that is the turning down of job applicants. Okay, so this is us applying for a job. We may feel that this is the perfect job for us. We've got our heart set on it, and unfortunately, we did not make it past the interview stage. So how do we turn down job applicants, everybody? And this is technically in the job description of those in HR. So if you're thinking of a career in human resources or management, this could be something that you're going to be dealing with on a daily basis. Okay, so some of the points that we need to keep in mind when we're turning down these job applicants are: we need to use, and it has been recommended that we use the indirect approach when we are writing this letter. Personal letter for interviewed candidates. So those candidates that were in your office that you have interviewed, that you've maybe made a little bit of a connection with, a personal letter is recommended. Okay, a form letter for other applicants. So those other applicants that maybe didn't make it through the interview stage, didn't get didn't even get to the interview. That's what we're talking about there. Again, everybody, and we really need to hammer this home, and it applies to so much, but being courteous and respectful to those individuals is certainly recommended. It will get you far if you take that approach. You want to make sure, everybody, that you leave the applicant's self-esteem intact. Okay, don't berate them. Don't belittle them. Make them feel that they're not worth that job. You want to make sure that you leave their self-esteem intact. And again, we've got a great example in the textbook 274, 275 on how they've laid that out and how it should look. Okay, so again, everybody, indirect approach, personal letter for those that you have interviewed and maybe made that kind of connection with, a form letter for all of the other ones. Okay, be courteous and respectful and leave applicant's self-esteem intact. Okay, and you will encounter this honestly when you're out applying for jobs, or if you're going to be working in HR. So it's really critical that you understand just exactly how it is we're going to be putting that that letter or that memo together. Okay. The next part that I want to talk to you about is this announcing bad news to employees. But I'm going to end this video here, and then I am going to continue on with video 2, and we're going to talk about announcing bad news to employees. Okay, and this is something, if you remember from that case study that we talked about at the beginning of the chapter, this is what we're talking about. And how do we effectively get bad news across to employees? So that will be the start of video 2, everybody, and it'll be on in just a couple of minutes. Thank you very much.